With us now, Congresswoman Yassamin Ansari of Arizona, just returned to the United States from El Salvador. Nice to see you, ma'am. Thanks for joining us. What did you find out there?
So the reason we went down to El Salvador was to continue to put pressure on Donald Trump's administration to follow the Supreme Court's decision, which was very clear that it is imperative that this administration facilitate the return of Mr. Garcia, which Donald Trump himself admitted was a mistake. And we went down to demand answers. We met with the U.S. Embassy, the ambassador. We had requested to meet with Mr. Garcia. That was rejected by the government. We had the family's lawyer with us as well. And we are continuing to put on this pressure because the administration is refusing to follow the law. And I believe this issue is of significant concern. And we are in a constitutional crisis that Americans are taking.
There's a lot here. I'm not going to debate the law with you because I'm not a lawyer. But I will ask you from the political side. Donald Trump could have this guy brought back anytime he wants. Could have done it when this story first happened. He believes it's working for him politically. You all currently certainly believe it's working for Democrats politically. Here's Gavin Newsom of California. Take a listen.
This is the distraction of the day. Debate they want. This is their 80-20 issue as they've described it. You know, those that believe in the rule of law defending it. But it's a tough case. Because people are really, are they defending MS-13? Are they defending, you know, someone who's out of sight, out of mind in El Salvador? I mean, we're perfect sheep.
To put this bluntly, is Gavin Newsom wrong?
So I don't think Donald Trump thinks this is the right move politically. I think Donald Trump is afraid that he will be held in contempt of court, and that if he were to actually facilitate the release of Mr. Garcia, then he is admitting that he broke the law, and that is something that he's unwilling to do. There's also polling that shows the majority of Americans.
There's a couple things there. Hold on. There's a couple things there. Just in terms of the release, no one's talking about him being released. At most, what the court says is he has to come back to the United States, which he would face another hearing, another deportation hearing, still in ICE custody, and would be deported immediately. He had a final deportation order. The issue is what country he goes to.
Facilitating his return to the United States is what the Supreme Court said. And the very conservative judges on the Supreme Court also made very clear that this was an illegal action taken by the administration. So I think politically, Donald Trump is concerned of admitting his mistake by facilitating that return to the United States.
I had not heard that argument. That is a new one and interesting. There is this situation going on in a larger sense. Democrats think arguing this rule of law case will work, where you have millions of people who came across the border illegally, clearly in violation of U.S. law. And there's a lot of Americans who feel Democrats are arguing that the president doesn't have the right to deport them.
That's not what this is about. This case, if somebody comes here illegally and they are deported, that happens every single day. This administration admitted that this particular case was a mistake because there was a judge that had ordered that it is prohibited for Mr. Garcia to be returned to El Salvador.
No, I understand. I understand that, but you understand we've changed, right?
That's why you have the union president of the building trades advocating for their union member, a sheet metal worker. His wife is a U.S. citizen. And again, it's about more than just him. If we get to a point where the president can openly defy the Supreme Court, we're getting... I don't think that it should be okay for the president to.
I don't think so either. We can. There's a lot of lawyers on, ma'am. There's lawyers on both sides, smart constitutional folks I've talked to who have arguments on both of these sides. I said we wouldn't litigate the law for that reason because I'm not
the Supreme Court
lawyer. But let me just
our land, Leland, and in our country that is the law. So
I understand the argument. I'd be interested why this has become so important to Democrats, because I know you're the daughter of two Iranian immigrants. If there's anyone who understands the brutality of, for example, the Iranian regime, Reza Valazezda, his name may not mean anything to you. He's an American Iranian, an American citizen, journalist imprisoned in Iran. There are Americans who are wrongly held all over the world. I don't see members of Congress, especially Democrats, going to visit those countries and bang the drums and demand their return. These are Americans who are held overseas. Do you worry that the politics and the videotapes of you guys down in El Salvador just appears a little too transparent?
So, Leland, for me, again, as the daughter of immigrants, as you rightly said, who did flee an authoritarian regime, I know very well that we can see democracy changed overnight. And if we allow Donald Trump to get away with defying a Supreme Court order, he said himself, homegrowns could be next. He said this in the Oval Office with President Bukele. If that doesn't scare every single American, then I don't know when we will hit a breaking point. But I can tell you, in the last 2 weeks, there is no issue that I have heard more about from my constituents,
I can imagine that.
Independent and Republican, about this. So it is extremely important. It is very important.
I have to say, I understand. I agree with you. It's why we keep covering it. I admire the pivot on the question, and you're not wrong. In terms of what the ideas in America.
If your question is, should we be advocating for the release of Americans wrongly held by foreign governments? Absolutely. I mean, I have advocated for the Women Life Freedom movement, for that Iranian women freedom for.
I'm going to cut you off before the computer does, but we're going to have you back to talk about it because I think it's something we agree on, especially about Iran. It's good to see you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.